Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy!
That's me, Tiberius!
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Well, today's case is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to a financial advisor. Well, do you have any idea what a financial advisor does? Well, I got a funny feeling that they give out financial advice. But hey, let's find out for sure. Let me to the next guest, the one, the only, the amazing Rick Salmeron.
Hey, Tiberius. So excited to be here. This is going to be like the best podcast ever.
Sweet.
Cannot wait.
Well, thank you for being on the show. Okay, so you are listed as a financial advisor. Well, can you explain to my listeners exactly what does that mean?
You put it very well, giving advice on finances. In short, people make money, right, throughout their careers in one way or form or another. And there's a lot of decisions that need to be made with that money, countless possible ways I can use this money, whether it be for myself or my friends or my family or my pets or my dogs or my house or whatever. So there's so many decisions to make, and because money is such a precious thing to have, we want to make sure that we're making the right decisions with that money, right? We don't want to mess up with that. It's very, very important. So a financial advisor who's got experience, who's got seasoning behind him or her, we give out that kind of advice that's in the best interests of our clients. They come to us so that they can make wiser choices and wiser decisions with their money. That's what we do.
Okay, so how did you get started learning about money?
Whoa, I got started a long time ago. Are you ready for this brief story? I was younger than you are today. I was 8 years old when I started this career path, believe it or not. I was at home having breakfast. My mother approached me on a Saturday morning. It was a beautiful day. I'll never forget it. She placed her hand on my shoulder and she said, "Rick, today is going to be a very special day for you." I said, "Why, Mom?" She said, "Because today we're going to go to a place called a savings and loan. And we're going to open a savings account for you. Isn't that great?" And I thought, well, what does that mean, Mom? She said, "See, son, if you let them keep your money, they will pay you money for keeping your money." That didn't still quite hit me, but what was good for my mom was good enough for me. So I dropped my spoon and my Fruit Loops. We went into the car. We drove off to this savings and loan. I emptied my pockets full of change, just coins twirling on the counter, $10 worth of allowance there. My mother matched that with another $10, and my first savings account was born with $20. Now, it wasn't until 90 days later, Tiberius, I got my first statement in the mail, and that $20 grew to $20.15. That was a big aha moment. That was 50 years ago. I remember that day as if it was last weekend when money can work on its own. I didn't need to do anything. It grew by itself. That started something inside me. That flipped on a light switch. And then I had all these different behaviors, these habits that I slowly formed throughout my childhood, high school, college. I bought my first house at age 22. I invested in my first stock at age 18. I maxed out on my company's retirement plan with their first job. So I was always a natural saver. And when I wanted to become an entrepreneur one day, I thought, what can I do to add value to people's lives? And this is something that I did all the time. It was a natural. So I became a financial advisor in that manner. And I would love if everyone, if they didn't become an advisor, that's quite all right. But if we can all be more wise and smart with our money, man, life is great.
Okay, well, what about the subject of money got you hooked?
The freedom that it provides. I mean, consider this. Now, money is not everything. Okay. However, in my view, it ranks up there with oxygen, right? Because when we've got a surplus, a lot of money in the bank, we've got a lot of what? Options. We've got a lot of flexibility. We can take care of our health better. We can produce, we can have better relationships with our family and our friends. We can get the things that we like in life, right? We can get maybe a better car one day. We can buy that house. We can expand on our life, and we can have a more joyful and happy and fulfilling life if we have more money in the bank, right? That's not from a greed standpoint. It's from a lifestyle standpoint, and everyone can feel far more happy and joyful that way.
Well, is it harder to learn about finances or teach someone else about it?
You can learn in both ways, I'd say equally. There's plenty of YouTube videos, there's several books you can read on, and so much information we're surrounded by when it comes to money and financial education. And at the same time, just as wise, you can find advice from other friends or other family members or your parents or another advisor. There's really something to be said about true people who have done it before, who know the mistakes to avoid, the good things to do. So that sometimes you can't find in the books and the videos. But if you have a combination of that, then you've got a really nice supply of choices for you and decisions that you can make in front of you.
Okay. So is this advice more about earning more money or saving more money?
Very good question. It can be both. Because how can you save money? You can save money if you're making money. So it's like is it like a chicken and the egg kind of thing? I'm not sure. That it's just as important, in my view, equally to be making money so that you can save money, so that you can accumulate wealth. So at one point, you're usually in the beginning stage of one's life. When you're in school, you're in college, you graduated from college, the focus is on making money. That's when we want to turn the faucet on. And that faucet of water, the money water, so to speak, to put into the buckets, to put into the places so that those places can be growing for you while you're continuing to make the money, so that at one point, the buckets will be so strong that you won't need to worry about making the money anymore. So the two really go hand in hand, although they come in kind of a seesaw fashion over time.
Mm-hmm. So what's the best part about working as a financial advisor?
I love working with my clients. I love working with people, having and developing the one-on-one relationship. This is how I address my business. Very personal, very making my clients feel like they're VIPs, like they're feel like $1 million so that they can grow to get that $1 million, right? So I love seeing them grow. I love seeing their families. I love seeing them in their life events and seeing how they've grown their wealth, they've grown their accounts, they've grown their money so that they can provide for their families, so that they can provide for their children and provide for themselves. It's so enriching to me. That's really the best part of what I do.
Okay. Well, now here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
And we are back here talking with Rick Salmeron. Rick is a financial advisor that has a different approach to working with clients. So, Rick, as an advisor, you have clients that need advice. Well, what type of people are good clients for a financial advisor?
Anyone who's looking for a trusted professional to look over their shoulder to ensure as best as they can that they're making the right decisions. with their money, or they're clueless and they have no idea what to do. So this would not be like a do-it-yourselfer, which is fine. Many people handle their money and their finances on their own perfectly fine. However, some people are just so busy, or they don't want to become money experts anytime soon. They have no interest in that. Therefore, who can I work with that I feel really good about? That would be a good person to be seeking out the help of a great financial advisor.
Now, see, I've saved some money in the bank, but they pay very little interest, like a cent. Well, can a kid use your services? And when's the right age to start?
Oh gosh, the right age to start is as soon as you can, as possible as you can. Once you start developing those habits at an early age, like I said, I started at 8, and that's helped me in this area. So I'm grateful to be here with you to give you some inspiration to keep up whatever savings habits and patterns that you have and make them continue, if not add on to them. And as far as being frustrated with making pennies on saving and so forth, fortunately these days, this has not been the case in a very long time. However, with interest rates rising, we're finding better places and better ways to earn more on your money in the bank. So there are better options out there.
So if you're showing people how to make money with their own money, well, how do you get money then?
Oh, I will earn a percentage, generally speaking, of the money that's invested. So I charge a nominal investment advisory fee on the accounts that I manage. That puts me on the same page as my clients. I would like for that account to grow as large as possible too, for that reason, as realistically and as conservatively as possible also.
Okay. Well, what is the best way to save money so I can get larger items that I want? Like a new video game.
The best way to save is to change your habits. Whatever you're doing now. Now, many people come to me and say, Rick, where do I find the money? How can I save more? How is it possible? And the answer is, it's possible. It's there. You just need to find the place to take whatever you're currently doing with your money in other ways and redirect it into the bank or into that investment account or into that retirement account. Everyone's got a possible place that they can pull money aside from what they're currently doing and set it into another direction.
Okay. Well, what is the largest expense that most people have?
Oh, I would say most likely their house payment. After they buy their house, they'll find, wow, that's a big one. And that's why it's many expenses. We need to be careful, whatever it would be, a house or a car or these big ticket items. Can we afford it moving forward? And that many times also is how an advisor can help guide that person to make that decision, whether they should pursue that or not.
Now, I'm almost a teenager. Well, what should I be planning for my first large expenses?
When should you be planning?
What should I be planning?
What should you be planning? The answer is what is important to you. That's an answer that you will have, not necessarily the advisor. So what do you value? What do you see in your future? Perhaps if I were your parents or your father, in my mind, I would be thinking, well, you're going to maybe go to college, or you may want to own a home one day, or you may want to own that car one day. So those larger ticket items, that's what you need to focus on, especially if you have time on your side. That will help you
That's true.
build up that savings to make those big ticket item purchases.
Okay, well, I've interviewed a few people that do land and other types of real estate investing, but you've always have a lot of money to get started. Well, how much do you have to have in order to get started with a financial advisor?
Oh gosh, I have some clients that are putting aside as little in my view as $100 a month in an account. And then I have other clients who are putting away a lot more than that, a lot more. So, and everything in between. The common thread with all of them, however, is they value a experienced professional looking over their shoulder to make sure their money is in smart places and that they're doing the right things with that.
Okay, well, what did the family say when you told them you were going to be a financial advisor?
Oh, they were happy as the dickens. I had a very supportive family, very supportive parents. And in their mind, it was, Rick, whatever you feel like you've got a passion for, go for it. And I've
Okay.
always had their support.
Well, what was the most rewarding part about being a financial advisor?
Definitely the relationships that I've established with my clients. I
Okay.
have clients, Tiberius, that I've had for over 20 years. And I've seen their kids grow up as my kids have grown along with them. And that you cannot put a price to that. That's so very, very valuable to me. To be able to be a part of their lives is awesome.
Wow. Well, is it being a financial advisor a good business to get into?
You betcha. You betcha.
Okay.
It does not require a lot of money at all. If I wanted to open an ice cream
Got it.
store, it would probably cost a couple $100,000. I don't know.
Cool.
However, being an advisor, it really takes a laptop and a lot of studying and smarts.
Okay. Well, does it cost a lot to get into this business?
Doesn't cost much, no. It does ongoing continuing education. Like I said, you need to have a connection to the internet. You need to have a few ancillary things, perhaps an office setup, etc. However, not to the scale of, like I said, building a restaurant or an ice cream store or something similar to that. It does not require a lot of money up front. That's one of the advantages that you have in this career.
I see. Okay. Well, what's the hardest part about being a financial advisor?
Hardest part of being financial advisor is helping people's emotions stay in check. Because people make decisions, whatever those decisions are, based on their emotions at that time. Think about it. Everything that we buy is emotionally driven. Every action that we take is very emotionally driven. And when I am helping people save money in, say, the stock market or something similar to that, at times they can see their money go down in value. And that's not a good feeling. And people feel scared. They feel a sense of panic. They want to jump ship and they want to change complete course and change the plan, and because they feel like the world is going to come to an end. So dealing with humans' emotions is really the most challenging part of my career.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, do you work by yourself or have a team of people helping you?
I do work by myself. However, I do have a support system. So you're looking at the company now. I do have a full-time assistant, and I also have a tremendous support system from my broker dealer, who's a behind the scenes type of entity that makes sure that I'm following all the rules and the regulations that my industry requires, because I'm dealing with a very precious asset, and that's people's money.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is the one thing that that you can tell parents of the kids that are listening that they can do to save more money for their future?
Help encourage them to adopt good savings habits right away, whatever that may be. So if you're giving them an allowance, have a brief conversation with them. So, son or daughter, how are you going to use this allowance? How do you feel like is the most wisest use of this allowance? Should we set aside some of this in the bank? Should we let you spend some of it? So have a brief conversation to see how your child responds. And if you feel like it's an opportunity to insert some wisdom based on your experience with the suggested spending habits, that would be a great step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the craziest thing that has happened while you were doing your passion?
The craziest thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. What would be the craziest thing? I had one client who wanted to set aside an account specifically for their cat. I thought that was pretty funny.
Whoa.
I thought that was pretty funny. She didn't have any children, but her cat was her child. So
wow. So if someone wanted to learn to be a financial advisor, what was the first thing that they should do?
I would say to start gearing up to study to obtain the licenses necessary. and to also find other companies to work with and get some experience under your belt and see how that path is and see if it's a right fit for you. That's how I would start.
So, if someone wanted to learn to be a financial advisor, what's the first thing that they should do?
I think that they should be watching some educational videos about personal finance. If they wanted to consider this as a career, start to work with another company. Get a feel for it. Get some experience under your belt. Eventually and ultimately, being on your own is the best way to go. However, I'm a big believer of whetting the appetite before you dive into the meal, so to speak. So getting some experience under your belt from another place, another company, would be a good place to begin.
Okay. So, do you ever have a special training or testing to do this job?
There's testing, yes. You have to become licensed. There are
Wow.
some licenses that are optional. However, having licenses are required, and those require exams, and some of the exams are really hard sometimes. In fact, the certified financial planner exam, which is what I am, was probably the hardest test I've ever taken, and that includes college and graduate school. So it's challenging. It's challenging, but there are tests to take. There are studies that you must pursue. So there is that intellect and mental part that one has to dive into and keep fresh over time.
Who can you say was the person that helped drive your passion the most?
My parents, my parents. My mother, when she took me to that savings and loan when I was a youngin' on that Saturday morning, and my father also. He really turned me on to the long-term investing side of my life. He was the one that helped support me with that first stock investment at age 18 and other ones too. But that was both of them hand in hand were very influential with me going down this path that I'm so grateful that I'm on.
Well, what advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to grow up and be a financial advisor?
Start incorporating smart money habits with your personal life. Okay? Because if you want to be the greatest financial advisor possible, then you yourself must be a great financial person. You need to be one to have that experience within yourself, have that passion for money, that passion for saving, that passion for investing, so that it too can become natural for you and that you can be a source of inspiration and guidance and help for others. So start with yourself so that you can help others around you in the future.
Okay. So, what's the best advice you've ever received, and who gave you that advice?
I go back to my mom again, that if they keep your money, they will pay you money for keeping your money. I didn't hear that from anyone apart from her for the very first time, and I didn't know what that meant. If I did, I wouldn't have believed her. How could that be? I couldn't put 2 plus 2 together. Yet when I saw that's what happens, oh my goodness. And of course, there's many more things that happened after that, but that was the beginning. That was the seed for myself.
So, what was the very first job you've ever had?
The first job that I ever had was, ready for this, drum roll, I worked at a Baskin Robbins ice cream store.
Well, was there anything you learned from that job that helped you be a better financial advisor?
To be careful not to spend too much money on hot fudge sundaes and banana splits. That's for sure, because as much as I would want to have done that, that wasn't good for my health and it wasn't good for my bank account. And I wasn't making too much money. Are you ready for this? I began at this wage, $1 an hour.
Wow.
And that inched up to $1.50 an hour after my first 2 weeks of training.
Okay.
When I left that job, I wasn't quite making $2 an hour. So talk about scarce resources. You really had to be wise with your pennies back then, just like you should be today, frankly.
Okay. Well, what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
Be smart with your money. How do you be smart with your money? You make smart choices. You make smart choices. You develop strong habits today. As young as you are, you want to continue making those habits, just like everything else in life. The better habits that you adopt, the better results you will create in your life. That goes for your piggy bank, that goes for your bank account, that goes for any kind of investing that you might do later on in life. It does not need to be a large change. It can be a very small change, whatever that is. Just don't buy that one video game. Do it one time less this week. Do it one time less this month, and then watch things start to build up after that time.
Okay, well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills. And we are back here with the amazing financial advisor, Rick Salmeron. Okay, now, Rick, we have been trying to get a financial advisor on the show for a while now, and they always say that they're not allowed to talk on air. I've always wondered why. Well, why are you allowed to talk about being a financial advisor when so many others are not allowed?
I don't know why others are not allowed. I'm an open book. I love talking about this. The more I talk about this, the more wisdom people will hear, the more potential behaviors might get changed for the better. So give me the microphone, baby. I'm here. I'm happy to talk.
Okay. Now, I played all of the financial games on Next Gen Personal Finance, and they all say you should save a percentage of your earned money. Well, what percentage should a kid start as to save now as he or she first starts to earn an income?
I'll give you these rules of thumb. Minimum 10%, preferably 20%. For the serious folks, 30%. So bronze, silver, gold. Choose your metal. One of those, start with that and work upwards. If you're already at the gold, then create a new level called platinum and save 50% of whatever you're earning and making. There.
Okay. Well, what do you think is the best exercise to help people learn to use their money better?
I would say play a game of financial Jenga. Are you ready?
Sure.
I want people to take the next month and add up all your income, however much money you're making in whatever way or whatever manner. And then I want you to list how you're spending in the month and line up those expenses with essential, I must spend this money on this, and non-essential. Don't really need. So you take the non-essential and, like the financial Jenga game blocks, pull those out. Pull that non-essential out and redirect it into the bank, into the piggy bank, into your wallet, into the investment and so forth, and watch your life change.
Okay, well, if you're going to go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
Save 30% of your income.
Well, what was the biggest mistake you ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Oh, gosh. Biggest mistake I made, I'd say probably spending too much on, I shouldn't be so hard on myself. However, I do like to spend money on trips and on vacations because one can say that's important. It's important to get away. It's important to spend time with friends and family, and there's a lot of quality in life with that. At the same time, did I really need to travel so far to get that same experience? Probably not. So maybe I spoiled myself a little bit too much. Maybe I felt like I deserved it at the time. However, looking back, maybe I could have done a little bit less of that.
So when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Oh, I like to exercise. I like to go to hot yoga classes. I like to go to movies with my wife. I like to play the piano. I like to spend time with my cats. I like to spend time with my family, my daughter and my son. So I like to spend time, quality time with my close friends and my loved ones. And I still have that trip bug too. I like to go on vacations. I've been to many places this year.
Wow. So, do you play video games? And if you do, what is your favorite one?
I don't currently play video games. However, I did big time
Not
when
even
I
on your
was your
phone?
age. No, no, not on the phone. I'm doing other things on my phone. But back in the video game craze of the 1980s, I was a master player at this one game called Dig Dug. Look it up sometime. But I was hitting 1,000,000 points on Dig Dug every time I put a quarter into the machine. I spent easily 2 hours on one game of Dig Dug.
Wow. So, what's your favorite book to read then, if you're not playing video games?
Oh, I like to read books. I like to read books. Many of them are personal development, personal growth types of that help me become a better person. I'm really into that. That's what I use my device for the most, is to listen to personal growth like podcasts. But I also really dig fiction stories that are like thriller or drama, things like that. Helps me escape for a little while.
Okay. Well, now, can you one story? Remember, this is a kid show. But that one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
The one story I'm not supposed to tell you about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I have a story that I'm not supposed to tell you about. I'm too boring of a personality. I'm gonna fall flat on. I'm gonna be a deflated balloon answering that question, because everything that I can think of is going to be nothing but goodness and inspiration and just learn from your mistakes. All right, learn from your mistakes. That's how we become smarter.
Is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you then?
Let's see. I love to cook. Like I said, I love my cats. My cats' names are Waffles, Sunshine Fluffy Pants, and Winky. Sunshine is a Maine Coon. Winky is a Russian Blue, and Waffles is a Havana Brown. Beautiful chocolate brown colored cat. If she was around, I would show you her, but she's not around. She likes to do her own.
Okay. Well, do you have a Facebook or website for my listeners who want to follow you?
Yes, they can look up my name, Rick Salmeron, on Facebook and also Instagram. And my website is salmeronfinancial.com. That's my last name and the word financial all put together.com. Check it out sometime.
Okay, well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
One question: will you be doing this when you are 90 years old?
Will you be doing this when you're 90 years old?
God willing, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Rick, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
You betcha. You betcha. This has been awesome. You're
Sweet.
a rock star.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Rick, for helping me with Math Corners. And this week, we're going to do some more multi-step word problems. And my dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. And today, we're going to talk about babysitting. Okay, well, Frank is a great babysitter. He makes $8 an hour, and Kaylee is funny and more fun than Frank. Well, she makes $12 an hour. Well, Kaylee works 6 hours each week. How many hours does Frankie need to work in order to earn as much money as Kaylee earns in a week? Well, first is a real world problem because we do know that some parents want the more fun babysitter than other ones want the cheaper ones, like my dad. So, to solve this, first you have to figure out how much does Kaylee make total in a week. Well, to find that out, you have to take the $12 an hour and times it by the 6 hours she worked for the week, which that would be $72. Guess, as a kid, she doesn't pay taxes. So, next you have to divide the $72 by the hourly rate that Frank earns. So, 72 divided by $8 is 9. So, Frank has to work 9 hours to earn the same amount of money as Kaylee. So, Rick, did you ever get to work as a babysitter?
No, I never did.
Aww. Well, at Baskin Robbins, what percentage did you save from your earnings?
Oh, gosh. Answer, not enough. I probably saved maybe 10%. I made so little, I ended up spending most of it.
Okay. Now, Rick, my teacher said that I would use math every day. How do you use math in your work?
I use math a lot, yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, money, numbers. So when it comes to that, it's as if when I go to bed at night, my pillowcase is made out of an Excel spreadsheet, okay? That can happen sometimes. But I'm surrounded by numbers. I'm very comfortable with numbers, and it's not really a requirement to be comfortable with numbers. However, it sure does help.
Thank you so much, Rick, for your help with Math Corners.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. And as you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of a Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. And this week, we're going to talk about nobility. For me, I think nobility is remembering we are God's special possessions and acting in a noble way, showing courage and honor. The qualities of nobility are goodness, virtue, honor, generosity, and selflessness. So this week, I was at a weird coffee shop that served a bunch of balls in the bottom of the coffee, and a lady was ordering a number of drinks. They told her that the price, and she was paying in cash. She was short 20 cents, and she did not have enough money to pay for all the drinks. Behind her was the guy and his little girl. She was 6 years old, and she took out $1 out of her bag and offered to pay for the 20 cents. This was selfless and generous. Now, she was giving of her own money, and she was so young. And the woman at the counter said not to worry and gave the girl her money back and cleared the difference. Everyone in line saw it, and they were like, "Aww." So, Rick, did you see your use nobility at all this week?
Oh, I am a big believer of giving back, because when you give back, it comes back to you in spades. Maybe not from the same place, from other areas, but when you give, you get. So as an example, the city garbage trucks come around the neighborhood, right, to pick up the garbage once a week. It is so hot where I'm at right now. I went outside and I had a bucket full of bottles of water, and I just gave it to them. They're working hard. And I wanted to give back to these workers that are doing such a good job for our street and our neighborhood and the city that I felt like doing something like that was a noble thing.
Well, that is. Well, of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
I like to see integrity the most. And I really believe that integrity is probably the strongest one of the four. If you're true to your word, that is such a precious gift.
Well, we should always try and be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Every day.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Rick Salmeron for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to him today. I think we learned a lot about being a financial advisor and saving your money for the future.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
No problem. Well, do you mind giving your social media and website again?
Sure. My website is salmeronfinancial.com. And look me up on Instagram, Rick Salmeron, as well as LinkedIn and also Facebook. Happy to connect.
Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, KN1988, Soul Radio 24/7, Easyway TV, and all the other stations that air my show. Please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Rick, have you subscribed yet?
I will after we hang up.
Okay. Oh, and leave a comment if you want to go into financial advising. Also, be sure to see us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.